Hey everyone, welcome back to Topher Drives, where today we're driving this 2014 Subaru WRX, the last model year of the last rendition of the Subaru WRX hatchback. They never made another one of these after 14, and I know a lot of people miss it, including myself. I was just driving the new Impreza RS, and I was saying the entire video, why don't they use this body style for the current generation WRX? Well, not only was this the last hatchback WRX, it was also the last one that was based on the Impreza. Starting in 2015, Subaru just made the WRX its own standalone model and abandoned this Impreza WRX nameplate that they had had in the US for about 12 years at this point, which brings me to the next part of the lore, which I had to look up because I'm not the biggest Subaru nerd. I don't know a whole lot about these, so forgive me. But this is kind of the second generation Impreza WRX, but it's also kind of the fourth, because in 2002, Subaru introduced the Bug-Eye, which was the first one that we ever got in the US. Now, overseas, they had an older variant, which we only had over here as the Impreza RS. We never got the full WRX. After the Bug-Eye, there was the Blob-Eye, and then the Hawkeye, but those three were all sort of the same car with just updates along the way, facelifts, if you will. And then this one was a completely new generation. So you can kind of look at this as like the second gen, but also kind of the fourth gen. And this is the facelifted version of the GR body, which is the wide body. So from 2008 to 2010, the WRX was a narrow body. It was pretty lame looking, to be honest. It just looked like an Impreza with some different wheels. But in 2011, they widened this and gave it the fenders of the STI. Now, this is not the full STI, even though the badges on the side may lead you to believe that. This is just the WRX. So under the hood, we have the turbocharged 2.5 liter flat 4 boxer engine, in this producing 265 horsepower and 244 pound-feet of torque. All of these had a 5-speed manual, which was a little bit peculiar because WRXs before this and after it offered automatics. But this one, from 2008 to 2014, was manual only. Now, the regular WRX, like this car, got a 5-speed. The STI got a 6-speed, but both of them got Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive with the Viscous center differential, which most of the time is sending 50% of the power to the front and 50% of the power to the rear, unless you're in a low traction situation, and it will split those up. This is a premium model, so it's mid-tier. This would have been about 29 grand in 2014. It's finished in dark gray metallic with the black interior. They all had black interior, but this one has cloth seats as opposed to the leather that you would have gotten on the Limited. So premium is mid-tier, but I just love those seats, and we'll get to those in a second. But first, I want to talk to you guys about why we're actually driving this today. So this is a little bit of a situation. This is my car, and okay, let me start from the beginning. So the Topher and I are enthusiasts of rallycross, as a lot of you know. The Topher, especially the day he bought his Camaro SS1LE, he took it out and did a rallycross at Milan Dragway. I was at that one with him. So big rallycross guy, and I thought, well, how cool would it be if we had a rallycross car that we could share? And I found this on Copart with some very minor front end damage. You guys know what happens when I get on Copart and have in my head that I have a little bit of money to spend. Well, the rest of the story sort of tells itself. I ended up buying this off Copart for what I thought was quite a good deal. I've got a B-roll shot right now of what this looked like. It was super minor. In fact, all we had to replace were the headlights, the grille, and the hood, and the core support inside. That's it. It was a super minor hit. But then we got an opportunity from Hyundai to take on a 6-month long-term loan of an Ioniq 5 XRT as a rallycross car. So, well, we don't need both cars. So now I just have this thing, and I'm hoping that one of you may want to buy it. And if not, it's okay. There's no pressure. But today we're going to be driving this downtown in a bit of a morning commute fashion because I want to take my pictures for the listing on top of a parking structure. I always take them around here, and this place is, well, it's good for intros, but it's just sort of bland, you know, a bunch of tan buildings and an empty parking lot. So I thought, oh, top of a parking structure might be cool for my listing photos. But if one of you wants to buy this after the video, please do let me know. It's got 137,000 miles on it. I've given you most of the details. One minor accident, or actually I think it might have 2 accidents on it, but it still has a clean title, and I only want to get $9,900 for this thing. So In an effort to not be a sleazy used car salesman, I'm going to show you every single flaw with this car, and you'll see about a 25-minute test drive, so you'll know what you're getting yourself into. But exterior-wise, honestly, this car cleaned up super well. We left this bumper on. This is actually the bumper that was on it in the accident, and there are a couple little scars on it. There's a little bit of spider webbing right here because this headlight was replaced, so I put the other headlight on it too, just so they would match. The grille is aftermarket, as you can tell, because it doesn't have a WRX badge on it. And then the hood is actually from a JDM front clip that I bought from this place in Chicago, but the hood and the core support were the only two parts that we even ended up using. Also, keen-eyed viewers will have noticed that the fender trim says STI. That's also from that JDM front clip because it was missing one of these, so we just put both STI little garnishes on there, which I think looks pretty cool. Honestly, some STI badges on this, since it is the same body, technically, as the STI. Also, the reason this video is not titled I bought a 2014 WRX is usually because when I do a video like that and say I bought said car, it's because the car is going to be sticking around and you can expect to see other videos on it. This, though, should just be a one-time thing. We're just going to go out today, film our commute, go take our pictures, get this thing listed for sale because it is simply not needed. And as you guys know, I have an abundance of cars, so the last thing I need is one more in the lineup. Before we show you anything else, let's poke around this. Let's talk WRX hatch, because this was technically the last sort of hot hatch from Subaru in 2014, which means we've been 12 years now without one of these cars. That's crazy that this is even that old. I mean, I was in high school when this car came out. In the back, very ample room for things. And underneath the trunk floor, we have a spare tire. Check that out. Now, I don't know how you would actually use this with the symmetrical all-wheel drive. I feel like the system would fight that a bit, but anyway, you do have one in case of an emergency. That is good. And of course, these seats fold down as well, which means you have potential to just have a ton of room in this. So you can see there with the seats folded down, I mean, you could fit me back here, I think. I think easily you could fit one me. Oh yeah. Oh, you guys love when I do this, don't you? Look at that. Oh, headliner looks okay. All right, let's get back out. Testing my core strength. Still on my little workout plan that I've been doing in preparation for the wedding, so there you go, putting that to test today. Also, love the clear taillights that these got. This car, I suspect, was owned by somebody that liked folding these seats down because all of the window switches are very scratched, which tells me this person was an enthusiast of sort of sliding things in and letting them roll around in the back seat. But don't let that fool you. The rest of the interior is actually quite nice. These cloth seats have held up pretty dang well. Excuse me while I feed this seatbelt back into its little house right here, which, look at this little mechanism. That's pretty neat. Anyway, let's talk about spacing back here. Now, this just has manual seats, so sat here behind my seating position at 5'11", I've got plenty of room. And I think we sometimes have this misconception that hatchbacks used to be small, and while they were smaller, this is fine. I mean, you've got the drivetrain hump here in the middle, so you probably wouldn't be fitting anybody here. And this is pretty barren as far as amenities go. You have some cup holders here in the door pockets, but that's just about where it ends. There's no climate vents, there's only one seat back pocket, and there's no fold-down armrest that I can tell, because this is all one big piece, so definitely not. But this does have a sunroof, because this is the premium model. So there you go, check it out. Before we jump up front and show you these lovely bucket seats, we will pop the hood, show you what that's all about. I think this guy wants to buy a WRX. Trade in your Prius V, sir. Nope, he's not interested. Okay, let's pop this hood. Man, I gotta say, I do love this dark gray metallic. Look at that as the sun bounces off of it. And look at this. Hood struts. In 2014, Subaru gave you hood struts for under 30 grand. What a world it must have been. But anyway, 2.5 flat 4, you guys know this engine, turbocharged and intercooled. You can see our top mount intercooler, which is functional with this hood scoop. You'll love to see it. 265 horsepower, 244 pound-feet of torque, and this weighs only around 3,000 pounds, so it's actually quite sprightly. I just took it out on the test loop, and it's pretty fun. I'm excited to take you guys all along with me as well. Now, I must admit, we've had this car for a few months at this point, geez, I think it's been 5 months. We've had this car for 5 months, and a lot of that time sort of went to fixing it. We had Keone and Uncle Dan from Cap's Garage go through and do the front end, and also put a new set of tires on this because it came on a horrible set. So I went on eBay and I found this used set of Goodyears, which is actually very nice, from 2022. And this is a 225/45 R17 squared setup. I do really like these base wheels that these cars got too. They are very nice. Okay, only other thing I want to show you on the outside, this door is a little bit bacon, you can see. There's been some PDRing done to remedy most of it, but you can still kind of see some remnants from a dent that was right there. And then, you know, just your normal like dings and scratches around the exterior. This is a 12-year-old car, so it has some stuff. It's got 137,000 miles on it. Spoiler, even the third brake light is clear, and quad exhaust tips. Okay, let's get in, let's start it up, and we'll go for a drive. And actually, before I start this up, I want to do something very important. Now, this is from an era where cars were just starting to get Bluetooth audio, and this has it, apparently, which means we can do a sound system test on this if I can get this to work with my phone. So you guys are going to watch in live time me try and figure this out. Wow! Bluetooth A setup, pair car media. It cannot be this easy. Oh, shout out to whoever set the pin on this. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4. Paired! Okay, cool. Well, let's start this thing up and go for a drive. Right, okay, something we need to note straight away. This car has a check engine light because it has an aftermarket downpipe. So there you go. That is, that's just it. It's got 137,250 miles on it. And, well, what else do we have up here? We have these very nice bucket seats that say WRX on them in red with red stitching. And again, since this is a premium, it has heated seats. We've got cup holders, this little cubby right here in front of the shifter for your phone. And we have automatic climate control right here. That is quite nice. I'm actually going to turn this down to like 65, and I'm going to put the vent on low too. It's actually a pretty intelligently set up interior, and whenever I get in a car that's like 10 years old, I'm thinking, why can't we just have stuff like this anymore? I mean, look at these vents. They're just front and center. Hazard switch right there. That works great. We've got a physical dimmer switch over here on the left-hand side for our red gauge cluster. Man, look at this. Even Subaru had cool gauge clusters back 10 years ago. Now everything's just a screen. Mirror adjustment, we've got a physical button to turn traction control off. Look how easy that is. One push of a button and it's off. Otherwise, yeah, it's just pretty normal 12-year-old Subaru stuff. So, okay, let's go drive it into reverse, which this obviously does not have a backup camera, but I feel that it is my duty that I show you reverse gear works. But anyway, what's this like once you start driving it forwards? Well, the first thing you notice is that this shifter is lovely. Now, I'm not just saying this because I'm trying to sell the car. You guys have hopefully gotten that vibe already because I've pointed out every single flaw that I could think of, but this shifter is genuinely really good. Now, I confirmed that it's not just this car that has a nice shifter, because Keone of Cap's Garage is selling a 2012 sedan right now, which is essentially the same car as this is, and I took that car around the block and the shifter was just as good. So whatever Subaru was putting in their shifters back in 2014, I wish they would do some more of that now. It feels similar to a new Subaru shifter, but it's got a little bit more weight to it. It almost feels like a Miata shifter, dare I say. Additionally, inputs in this car are pretty easy. You know, it's easy to do your takeoffs in this. The clutch has a pretty distinguished grab point, and I think this would be a decent car for somebody to learn manual in. This engine is pretty eager to rev. This car is pretty quick. You know, 265 horsepower, weighs about 3,000 pounds. You got the symmetrical all-wheel drive. There's a lot of stuff sort of going on under the skin. Throttle response is immediate. It pulls in a pretty linear fashion. You've got a little bit of turbo lag. when you're down in some lower RPMs, but once you get up there, it's pretty linear power. And it's pretty darty, this car. Jeez. Oh, it is. It is seriously quick. I'm not exaggerating. Okay, the brakes. The car's been sitting for a couple of months, so the brakes are a little bit rusty, so we'll try and kind of bed those in a little bit today. I love the torque here. This is a lot of fun. I love a good hot hatch, and you know, you never really think about a WRX, or at least I don't. You don't think of a WRX as a hot hatch, but it was. That's what this car is. I mean, this would have competed in 2014 with the Focus ST and the Golf GTI and the Golf R, especially the Golf R, because that's all-wheel drive. But this was a lot cheaper. This was under 30 grand. Oh, we just had it so good. All right, I'm going to use the physical traction control button, and we're going to take this around a corner and see what that's like. Get my downshifts. Stick this in here. Jeez, yeah, this thing pulls. Yes, you beauty. I'm gonna do that again. I love operating the controls. You've got these beautiful aluminum pedals that remind me of my IS300. Let's get out here one more time. Engine feels pretty healthy overall. I mean, no real indications that anything here is unhappy. Come on, brakes. It's actually somewhat playful around a corner too. I mean, I don't know that I didn't expect that or what, but it drives pretty similarly to a Focus ST. I mean, obviously the ST, the ass end's a little bit lighter, but this is all-wheel drive, so you don't have as much of that. But it's pretty dang neutral around a corner. You've got just a little bit of understeer there. Honestly, kudos to these Goodyear tires. They actually hang on pretty dang well. Let's just listen. I like this downpipe because it doesn't make this scream, but you still get that nice boxer rumble. Right, we will not be launching this because Keone explicitly told me, don't launch it. Those 5 speeds don't like that. So we're going to take his advice because he knows a lot more about Subarus than I do, and we're simply going to just breathe upon it and not do any sort of immediate things except going around potholes, because the next thing I want to talk about is steering. Now, the steering is pretty light, and there's actually some body roll here with this car, because even though you don't have the most ground clearance, it does still sit a little bit higher than a traditional hot hatch, because this has to be able to do rally car stuff. So it is a pretty fun and playful chassis though overall. Don't start liking this car too much. See, you guys, I do this thing every time I get a car. I say, I'm not going to keep that, I'm not going to keep that, and then I drive it and like it, and then I end up keeping it. This needs to be the exception. It needs to be the exception. But I am quite enjoying this right now. This is a lot of fun. Anyway, all right, let's get this out on the highway and see what it's like to actually live with this car. Also, I know what you're all commenting right now. The steering wheel is not center. Yes, I realize that. And it's something that obviously can easily be taken care of if you're interested in this car. I just didn't know because I hadn't driven this until today, and nobody told me that the steering wheel was off center, so I would have had that sorted before I filmed the video if I would have known, but forgive me and my colleagues for that small mistake. Alrighty, let's get this thing merged onto the highway. Now, the previous owner of this car has installed window tints, which you guys know I don't like. However, if you're a fan of window tints, then this is great because it means that you don't have to install them if you buy the car. It's actually a decently tasteful tint. The only thing I don't like, obviously, is that the windshield doesn't match. Right, once you're actually on the highway with this, it's not the quietest thing in the world, but it's a 12-year-old Subaru that was under $30,000, so I don't expect this to be like a Cadillac. The one thing I will compliment on this once you're on the highway is the ride quality. Ready? Decently supple, firm, but not crashy. You are revved decently high. This is revved at 3,000 RPM here at 75 miles an hour. Also, did I talk about in the beginning, Subaru fans' nickname for this car is the Stink Eye, which, I don't know, does it look like a stink eye? Maybe it does. I think the bug eye is the funniest because it just looks so astonished by everything it sees. It's a very silly looking car. This one's a little bit more down to business, I would say, and just kind of mean looking. But there is also one called the Mean Eye, isn't there? Isn't the one after this the Mean, or is that the Evo Eye? I don't know. So many Subaru things to remember, many of which I don't. But here we are, presenting this lovely little rallycross car. It goes down the highway fine. It'd be better if the steering wheel was straight. All right, well, what about ergonomics in this cabin? Well, I have to compliment the seat. Obviously, I like the looks of it, but it's also quite squishy and cozy and feels decently supportive. This is a completely manual seat, but I think the Limited had manual seats too. I don't think there were any power seats available on this generation of WRX. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But beyond the seat, you guys, this is one of the squishiest elbow rests I've ever seen in any car. So I'm thrilled with that. That makes me happy that they've got a little bit of cozy ergonomics in here. Now, what isn't cozy is the center console, which is hard plastic and way too far back to rest your elbow on. So you just kind of, I guess you can rest on the shifter or just at your side or have both hands on the steering wheel. Which, speaking of the steering wheel, this is leather wrapped with matching red stitching. You love to see that, but also you've got a fair amount of buttons. Now, unfortunately, since this car has a check engine light, we're not able to test out the cruise control today because that is in conjunction with the check engine light because this is a Japanese car and a lot of them kill cruise control when your check engine light is on. I imagine there's some sort of like O2 bung you could get for this car that would like solve the check engine light issue. I just didn't want to clear it before the drive and like lie to you guys and say that it doesn't have a check engine light on. So that's that. Anyway, obviously this doesn't do anything, these buttons over here, but if the check engine light wasn't on, your cruise control would all exist over here on the right hand side, very easy. And then you've got volume controls on the steering wheel as well. Check that out. You can also accept and decline calls from here. You've got a voice command button down here. Lots of good stuff. As far as like other electronics in here, there really aren't many. You have this small display here above the radio, which just tells you the temperature and the time. And I had to set this clock earlier, as you can see there. Very easy. Two little physical buttons there on the right-hand side that you just click up or down. And if you hold it, it goes by half-hour increments. So I quite like that. But everything in this is just so easy. You don't need to be like a physics professor to understand how to work anything in this car. It's just a car you get in, go drive it, have fun, spices up your morning commute. This is one of those cars that I think you buy this to sort of casually do events. I mean, maybe you do a rallycross on the weekend or something, or go do handbrake turns and parking structures with your friends. But the main purpose of this car is just to spice up the commute, I think. And if you live somewhere like Michigan, throw a set of snow tires on this thing and it's going to be lovely. I suspect this would be essentially unstoppable in the snow. I mean, you don't have like insane ground clearance from the factory, but they do sell lift kits for this car. Many companies sell lift kits for this car. So it's easy to obtain ground clearance. Pretty easy driving this in traffic as well. The clutch actually has decent weight to it. So there's a pretty distinguishable grab point here. So your takeoffs are pretty easy. You just got to modulate the throttle. You can see revved it a little bit high there. The throttle is very touchy. So a little bit goes a long way with this as far as inputs go. Subarus generally are pretty quiet when they're stock, so a lot of the sound clips I'm sure you guys have heard on the internet have been modified cars. But this is what one sounds like when it just has like a high flow downpipe and completely stock exhaust otherwise. I think a big bummer with some of the people that modify these is they put like the single exhaust out the back, but man, those quad tips look so cool. I can't imagine getting rid of those. This is a fun car to kind of just scoot around and like weave traffic. Okay, I keep thinking there's a sixth gear and there just isn't. Only five. Come on, man, you're about 5 gears. This car was a lot of lasts. It was also the last 5-speed manual WRX because they went to 6-speed after this. So it was the last Impreza WRX. It was the last Hatchback WRX, and it was also the last 5-speed WRX. Did it do anything else last? Might have. Yeah, these roads are just appalling right now. Seriously terrible. Another reason maybe you'd want to lift this car and put some bigger tires on it. But obviously, just going somewhere like this makes you admire the size of the car because you can just fit it anywhere. Narrow road like this, no problem whatsoever. I've even got room to avoid the potholes and still stay in my lane. That's what really matters. There you go. Ooh, there's a lot. Some of these you can't avoid, especially when somebody's driving in 2 lanes. Let me through. Thank you so much. Just a darty little thing. We're going to try and get to the structure that's over here. I don't know that I've ever gotten to it this way, so we're just going to sort of find our way to it together. Can I turn left here? Oh, I can. How about that? Yes! This is where I want to be. Should put the windows down. Ah, no tint. Freedom. Yes, we can. Lovely. Give you guys some nice ambient noise here of a flat 4. Oh my! Speaking of flat things, oh, what color is that? Paging PTS-RS. My goodness. I love that his plate was just 991. It's so sick. Okay, welcome to downtown Ann Arbor, Michigan, where we are just plowing these potholes here with this WRX. And actually, doing quite all right. The sound of this 12-year-old interior rattling may lead you to believe that this is a nightmare over the potholes, but really, it's no big deal. This is the hot hatch for people that don't live in California. A little easy to maneuver guy here, but we'll test that fully in the structure. How about? Oh, and also maybe play the sound of our people. That is the brightest thing I've ever seen. We're going to turn that down.
Please select an event from the screen. Welcome. Please proceed into the lot.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Nope, these have to be down. Too dark in here for tints. This might be kind of a first gear situation. Gears are pretty long in this thing. Like, I can comfortably just hang out at 15 miles an hour here, 2,000 RPM, first gear. Just kind of let it do its thing. Same. Wow, what a horn. Alrighty guys, well, that's gonna wrap it up here for my 2014 Subaru WRX hatchback, a car that I kind of meant to buy, kind of didn't, and now have and kind of don't want because we have another car to do the same thing that this car was acquired for. So again, if you're interested in this, hit me up. You can hit me up at topherdrives@gmail.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at topher.brower. And we'll work something out. But for the time being, that's going to be it. Put these windows back up. Oh, the sound system test. Working handbrake. There you go. See how this is. Actually doesn't sound too bad. I guess I shouldn't say I'm shocked, but it actually sounds pretty decent. You have these tweeters here, which help the crispy highs. I didn't see a subwoofer in the back. I don't think it has one. I think it's just kind of pumping through those door speakers. I don't know if maybe the Limited got a little bit of a better sound system, but geez, kind of for what that is, it's pretty dang decent. Okay guys, well, there you go. There's the 2014 Subaru WRX hatchback. If you have one of these, would love to hear from you and hear about what that's been like. This will be the only video that you see on this car. So again, please let me know if you're interested, if you know anybody interested. But if not, this thing will be making its way onto Facebook Marketplace, and we'll see if somebody wants it on there. But thank you guys all so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me as I drove this to my photo location today. And well, that's gonna wrap it up. Let me know if you have any questions about this, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.